Right now, on To the Point, a federal firefighter freeze.
At the end of the day, communities are going to burn and people are going to die if this doesn't get fixed.
Following President Trump's executive orders, why some firefighters say they're at risk of losing their jobs. Plus, the new warning tonight from California's Attorney General to disperse federal funds now. This year's flu season now forcing some school districts to cancel class as doctors raise alarms.
We would recommend everyone who hasn't had a vaccination to go out and try to get protected.
And later in the show,
you can see the preparations already underway, plenty going on down on the ground.
The security enhanced at this weekend's Super Bowl following the deadly Bourbon Street terror attack on New Year's Day. Good evening, this is To the Point. I'm Becca Habiger in for Alex Bell. We start tonight tracking several developing stories in Washington. Tonight, signs at USAID came down in Washington as the agency's future remains uncertain. Sources tell ABC News USAID's workforce will go from about 14,000 employees to just hundreds. That's a reduction of more than 95%, all as a judge today paused the order to put more than 2,000 employees on administrative leave at midnight tonight. Current and former USAID officials tell ABC News all of their humanitarian work around the world has effectively stopped. These are videos of a protest in Brazil over the issue this week. And tonight, 19 states, including California, sued President Trump to stop Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, known as DOGE, from accessing Treasury Department records that contain sensitive data like Social Security and bank account numbers. States' attorneys general who filed the lawsuit say this is in violation of federal law, raising security problems and the possibility for an illegal freeze in federal funds. Here was California Attorney General Rob Bonta about an hour ago.
We are asserting claims under the Administrative Procedures Act that say there's no authority for this authorization to unqualified, unvetted individuals, that the following procedures weren't followed.
The White House has not issued a statement on this new lawsuit. Developing tonight after President Donald Trump froze federal hiring in an executive order last month, some federal firefighters say they are now at risk of losing their jobs. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us with the new details.
Becca, tonight, the union that represents all of California federal firefighters tell me that Trump's executive order is shocking and disrespectful to the work they've done for the community, adding that if the Trump administration goes through with this, they believe it will end up costing lives.
American people elected President Trump to be the president of the United States and gave him a mandate to increase the impact of every federal dollar.
Keeping to his promise, President Donald Trump has issued a long list of executive orders to cut federal spending, and that included a federal hiring freeze. This executive order says no vacant positions may be filled and no new positions may be created, but there are exceptions like those that work in public safety.
They're dedicated to the American public. It's just very unfortunate that they are being targeted.
Even with the exception to employees in public safety, the National Federation of Federal Employees says its members, who are firefighters, are at risk of losing their jobs during this federal freeze. The NFFE represents firefighters with the U.S. Forest Service, Bureau of Land Management, and the National Park Service, the same agencies that helped fight the Los Angeles fires.
They have received letters of, hey, you're on probationary status, you are an at-will employee. Some have had their jobs rescinded for promotional opportunities. Some have most have gotten, actually not most, all have gotten the resignation letter.
The NFFE says it's already difficult to hire and retain firefighters without this executive order. In response, U.S. Democratic Senator Adam Schiff sent this letter to the Office of Management and Budget and the Department of Agriculture demanding federal firefighters be exempt from Trump's executive order. And locally, California Attorney General Rob Bonta announced on Friday he has joined 23 attorneys general to sue the Trump administration for freezing nearly $3 trillion in federal funds.
The administration must comply with the court order and disperse all federal funding immediately, so the programs and services our people rely on aren't disrupted and can fully resume without further interruption or chaos.
The NFFE tells me it will continue to work with Congress to try and ensure its members and future members are protected. Becca.
Jeannie, thank you. Well, breaking news into the newsroom tonight, Governor Newsom just signed several bills approving a total of $50 million for legal fights against President Trump's policies and for immigration services. Now, in a statement, the governor said in part, none of the funding in this bill is intended to be used for immigration-related legal services for non-citizens convicted of serious or violent felonies. Tonight marks 1 month since the LA wildfires. Dramatic new images show the start of the devastating Eaton fire, where at least 17 people were killed. Southern California Edison says it is looking into whether an idle transmission line became energized and possibly sparked the deadly fire. Altadena neighbors reported seeing flames at a group of transmission towers. 40 lawsuits have now been filed against the utility company, claiming its power lines are to blame. And this week, state lawmakers introduced a number of bills to help Los Angeles rebuild after the wildfires. They're also talking about a bipartisan bill that would allow CAL FIRE firefighters to become year-round employees. The proposal would allocate $175 million a year to make more than 3,000 seasonal CAL FIRE firefighters full-time. This week, ABC 10's Walt Gray talked to Capitol Weekly's editor-in-chief about what this bill could do.
These firefighters essentially get furloughed and they go on unemployment. And, because in theory, November to January, there wasn't a fire season and so they weren't needed. Well, I think if we've learned anything over the last decade, there is no such thing as the non-fire season. We're in fire season all the time. And that was the gist of the bill. Now, what would it do? It would make these people permanent. It would, if there were not actual fires to be fighting, they could be participating in fire mitigation practices.
Walt and Rich break down a lot more that happened this week over on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app. They discuss the third week of the second Trump administration and its impact on California, talking about Newsom's visit to Washington, wildfires, immigration, tariffs, and more. You can stream Trump's California Impact right now on the home screen of the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. Tonight, flu infections are on the rise, and the spike is prompting some schools to go remote or shut down altogether. Schools in at least 4 states closed down today to allow students, teachers, and staff time to recover from illnesses. Doctors say this is one of the worst flu seasons they've seen in years, as the CDC reports a second surge in cases. At least 32 states are seeing high levels right now. And while it's February, doctors say it's not too late to get a flu shot.
The way the season is extending at this point and with the severity, we would recommend everyone who hasn't had a vaccination to go out and try to get protected.
The CDC says there have been more than 250,000 hospitalizations from the flu and 11,000 deaths so far this season. Next on To The Point, all that rain causing closures and flooding. What to know ahead of the weekend.
That last storm system moving out, and you can see a lot of people preparing to head up into the Sierra. We'll talk more about what to expect with your weather forecast into next week.
And later in the show, an inside look at the Super Bowl preparations underway and the security with President Trump expected to attend.
We want to make sure people are safe and secure here.
Wow, check this out. Ski resorts are expecting big crowds this weekend because of the recent snow. This is Palisades, Tahoe. The resort got more than a foot of new snow, and it was still coming down this morning. And in the valley, this is what Discovery Park looks like today in Sacramento. Following days of rain this past week, the park has been closed due to flooding. And this is where the Sacramento and American rivers, of course, meet. And then over in Napa County, the Lake Berryessa Glory Hole spillway has been activated for the first time in almost 6 years. The last spillover was February 23rd back in 2019. Neighbors are showing up and enjoying the view. And meteorologist Carly Gomez joins us now. Carly, what can folks who want to get outside expect this weekend?
Beautiful weather conditions. We're finally getting a break from all the wet weather, but it's going to be a little bit chilly out there. We're seeing most of that weather system pushing through already. And really what's left is just some cloud coverage. This reflectivity here is just kind of bouncing off the clouds. Otherwise, what we're looking at now is some pretty nice conditions in the valley, but a lot of cold air seeping through. We do not have a freeze warning in the San Joaquin or the Sacramento Valley spots, but I'm showing you this because we do have it near Turlock, just south into the Central Valley and along the coastline all the way up toward North Bay, Santa Rosa, and further north. We're looking at temperatures near or even below freezing point, and we're also going to see our own cold temperatures in the valley near freezing point, if not at freezing for some spots. Current winds finally calm to light out there. Everything is slowed down as that system has passed through today. Beautiful weekend ahead, but we could see some areas of fog and even a little bit of frost into our valley spots off 99 and I-5 from Sacramento down toward Modesto, and then clearing out for us as we continue on through our weekend and into next week. We'll continue to see some sunshine, but still those cold morning starts. The next potential for an atmospheric river could be Wednesday, February 12th, where we can see that coming in, as well as into our Thursday and lasting as late as Friday morning. Then the next one arriving potentially that weekend, that Sunday of Valentine's weekend. That next potential for an atmospheric river set to arrive. We'll be looking at a trough beginning to dig in for us middle of next week, then continuing to bring us some sunshine as we at least roll in for one of those days in between, potentially for that next atmospheric river and low pressure system. Now looking at our temperatures in our foothills, right around those low to mid 50s out there, but look at the overnight lows. 28 degrees in Twain Harte, 25 in Arnold, 29 in Groveland. Very cold Bay Area, looking at cold temperatures as well, near 32 degrees in Santa Rosa, and into our valley spots overnight we are looking at about 35 to 37 degree temperatures. Over the next few days, a lot of sunshine. That'll be exciting for people to get outdoors. Mid to upper 50s expected. We'll continue that trend in the mid 50s through next week, but again, shower chances returning by Wednesday.
Carly, thank you so much. Well, next on To The Point, the Super Bowl preparations underway ahead of Sunday. And we hit the back roads in Monterey for an unusual farm where abalone is grown. Welcome back. Tonight, a man is in custody after an intense standoff that lasted several hours today in Rancho Cordova. Roads were closed and homes were evacuated. The Sacramento County Sheriff's Office says the man has a criminal history. He is accused of setting his house on fire. And tonight, as we inch closer to Super Bowl Sunday, we're getting an inside look at security measures underway. Now take this live look at Caesars Superdome in New Orleans tonight. The Superdome is the home of the New Orleans Saints, but playing the big game this year, of course, is the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. And security at this year's game will be extremely tight, and that was even before President Trump announced he would attend the game. Will Reeve got a first-hand look at some of the measures in place.
An inside look at the final preparations for Super Bowl 59. In New Orleans, we took to the skies with Customs and Border Protection air and marine operations.
You can see the preparations already underway, plenty going on down on the ground, but here high in the sky, this is all about keeping the city safe.
Security protocols for the Super Bowl enhanced after that deadly terror attack on Bourbon Street last month.
What would you say to folks who might be a bit anxious about security here in New Orleans in the wake of the attack on New Year's Day?
The Super Bowl is a level 1 SEER event, so we have resources that have partnered together to ensure that the airspace is secure and that the grounds and the venue and the events are secure.
On the water, the Coast Guard patrolling the Mississippi River. And on the ground, 2,700 local, state, and federal law enforcement.
We want to make sure people are safe and secure here.
Security sure to be even tighter with President Trump scheduled to attend.
It's cool to hear that he's seen me play football and respects the game that I play.
Sunday's game is a rematch of Super Bowl 57. Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs trying to win an unprecedented third straight title.
We got a great game plan, and we're going to sharpen that thing up these next 3 days and give it our best, man.
Standing in the way, Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles.
Whatever stats are out there, good, bad, or indifferent, I ask myself, did I win?
Superstar running back Saquon Barkley is hoping for his first Super Bowl win on Sunday, which just so happens to be his 28th birthday.
How do you plan to celebrate?
Hopefully by holding a Lombardi trophy.
Eagles coach Nick Sirianni knows the stakes and welcomes the pressure.
Shoot, there's always pressure in this game. Have you been to Philly?
According to the New York Times, more security measures the state has taken since the Bourbon Street attack, and that will continue through Mardi Gras, are anticipated to cost about $52 million. And coming up on To The Point on Monday, we're looking at security closer to home, keeping the Folsom Dam safe. The dam is going through a major construction project, and right now, bomb-sniffing dogs are doing their duty, searching construction equipment and cars that need access to the dam.
Well, one dog can search, what 20 officers can't, and 30 minutes where it would take them 4 hours probably.
So how does it work and why this program is now expanding? ABC 10's Devin Truey brings us a unique look at bomb-sniffing dogs, keeping Folsom Dam safe Monday night on To The Point at 6:30 only on ABC 10. Every Friday, ABC 10 hits the back roads, and you never know what you'll find on the back roads. Tonight, John Bartel takes us to an unusual farm in Monterey County to see how abalone is grown.
If you follow your nose down Monterey's Old Fisherman's Wharf, it might lead you to the Old Fisherman's Grotto and inside Chef Juan Ponce's kitchen. Juan is preparing a delicacy that's been on the restaurant's menu for over 75 years.
This is just fresh. They just got it this morning.
This is abalone, one of the most expensive seafood dishes you can buy at any restaurant in town.
So you eat this?
Yeah, but I'm going to show you how we're going to eat it.
I'm going to be honest, Juan. This doesn't look that appetizing at this point.
Yeah, but you're going to see it in a couple minutes.
Abalone meat is tough right out of the shell, but in 1902, a German chef living in Monterey discovered that if you tenderize it with a hammer, it tastes pretty good.
It's a very labor-intensive thing.
After some thorough tenderizing and a bath in some batter, Juan fries it up and prepares it on a beautifully garnished plate for me to try.
I've never tasted anything like it. It's fantastic.
Juan may have blown my taste buds away with his cooking, but he couldn't have even prepared the dish had it not been for the abalone that was farmed just down the street from his kitchen.
We're at a farm right now?
Well, you're standing up above one. It's under the wharf.
Huh. I don't see any tractors or anything around here.
Down below the Monterey Municipal Wharf is the Monterey Abalone Company, one of just 2 abalone farms in California.
What is an abalone?
An abalone is a marine snail.
Co-owner Art Seavey is what you call a mariculturalist, which is basically someone who farms in the ocean.
Yeah, so this cage has got a few hundred of these small abalone in it.
Art says raising abalone is a labor and time-intensive endeavor, which can take upwards of 4 to 8 years just to grow a single abalone.
Why aren't you just pulling these off the ocean floor here?
Yeah, there aren't many.
Abalone used to be abundant along the California coast. Native Americans not only ate them, but used their colorful shells to trade and make art with. But that all changed in the late 1800s when Japanese immigrants started diving for them.
They did, and they already had a culture of eating abalone and appreciating it. And so they would harvest it and dry it and ship it to Asia.
Eventually, Californians developed a taste for abalone, and a massive amount of the delicious sea snails were pulled off the ocean floor. Disease also killed a lot of the population, and then in 1997, California closed down commercial abalone fishing. Growing abalone in farms became the only legal and sustainable way to keep the industry alive.
This is dinner? Breakfast and lunch?
Breakfast, yeah, that's it. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, giant kelp.
Unlike clams, which are filter feeders, abalone eat kelp or seaweed, which has to be fed to them in their cages, which I found out is a very gross and disgusting job. Art says they choose not to feed their abalone processed food. Art and his team harvest natural kelp from the ocean, which is a dangerous and labor-intensive job.
We harvest anywhere from 3 to 5 tons of kelp a week.
Abalone grown in Monterey is an organic product, but most importantly, it's a sustainable way to get the tasty sea snail from the farm to your fork.
Feeding the abalone at Monterey Abalone Company. I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads. Would you like some?
And you can find more Bartel's Backroads destinations on the ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. They are all under the Shows tab. Scroll down to Travel Bartel's Backroads. Get the app wherever you stream. We're back after this. Welcome back. Every week on To The Point, we're featuring champions of hope. Each week, we're sharing stories of people making a difference. But tonight, we're changing it up a little bit and featuring a furry champion of hope. This is D-Bone Samuel from the Sacramento SPCA. The SPCA says he is this year's Puppy Bowl MVP, being voted most popular by people online. The Puppy Bowl is an annual event raising money and awareness for dog shelters across the United States. Thank you, D-Bone, for helping shine a light on animals in need. And hey, if you know someone, preferably a human, making a difference, we'd love to hear about it. You can share your champion of hope by emailing tothepoint@abc10.com. Thanks for joining us. Have a safe weekend. And To the Point doesn't end here. To watch stories featured on the show, download our free ABC 10 Plus app wherever you stream. Take care.